In this video, what I want to do is demonstrate a tarp tent shelter. Now this shelter was shown to me by Mike Dixon from Stone Age Bushcraft, and in one of my early videos I've got a similar variation of it, but this setup is far more improved, let's say, than my one. You do need a fairly large tarp. The one I'm going to be using today is a DD tarp, and it's 3 meters by 3 meters. And this will make a four-sided shelter that's suitable for 2 people. You could go with a slightly smaller one for a single person shelter, but you still need a fairly large tarp. So what I'm going to do, I'll start to set the tarp up and I'll talk you through the various key points. Right, with this tarp set up, we start with the centre line, which you can see running straight through the middle here. Okay, that's where the ridgeline would normally go. And then what we're going to do, we're going to peg out the centre third. So on this tarp, that comes with 5 eyelets. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we're going to peg the 2 middle, or the 2 eyelets number 2 and 5. Okay, sorry, 2 and 4. So the sort of the centre third we're going to peg out and peg them to the ground where they are. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll talk you through the next part. Right, the next thing we need to do is we need to get 2 poles, which we're going to tie together and crisscross at the top, and this is going to form the A-frame at the front of our tent. So that's what I'm going to do next. Okay, now we've done that, using the front part here, we're going to raise it up to the head height we're looking for. Okay, so what I've done, I've just lashed 2 sticks together. These aren't ideal, these are actually pieces of dead elder, which isn't a very strong wood, as you all know. But it's from an old elder tree that was down in this little woodland that I'm using, or this little clearing that I'm using, so use materials we've got available. So we've rigged it up. We might need to do a bit of adjusting here now, because what we're going to have to do now is peg out from the corners at the front. We need to go one eyelet back in, and that's going to be the front corners of our tent, and then the 2 last pieces here, these will be the doors. So I'll do that part now and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so we've now, as I said, we've pegged out here and here now, okay? So those 2 lines you can see running up, use a stick. This black line you can see running up and down here, this is basically the edge of our tent. So all this outer piece of material here is excess, it's spare. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to tuck those up inside the tent, and we'll use those partly as ground sheets for putting our kit on and stuff like that, if the ground's damp. So I'll do that bit next. Okay, one thing I didn't mention, when I tied the cross piece together, I left some of the paracord at the front loose, or excess. And this is to be my guy rope from the front. Okay, so we'll just pull this taut, you can see it pulls the back of the tent tight, peg this to the ground, and using a guy knot or a slip knot on there, you can use it as a guy tensioner. And then if the wind comes from the door, it'll stop those sticks blowing over. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to shut one of the doors up. As you can see, I've only got 1 peg in at the front at the bottom there. I need to cut another peg for the other door, and then they just loop over those pegs, and that seals the bottoms. And then up the top, you've got where the 2 black straps are. You could tie them together. Obviously that's where 2 your eye fixings are. Or the other option you can do is get some pebbles or a small stick and use some paracord and actually tie a little beads into it, and you can seal your tent with that. Any of those work very well. Obviously my advice with this sort of shelter is you put the door obviously not facing the wind, but you are actually enclosed on all four sides with this type of shelter. As I said, you do need a larger tarp for it. And as you can clearly see, you know, it's a big shelter. There's more than enough room for two people to sleep in here. Put your heads at this end is what I'd recommend. Feet down the end there, and you could easily get two men in here, two full grown men. Now I've only set this shelter up just to sort of demonstrate the idea that was shown to me. I'm not actually going to be camping out in a shelter here. If I was, I would choose a better location. But I just wanted to share it with you guys. So take care, see you in the next video.